Hello, welcome to another Random Code stream. My name is Jason Bach. I can get my music going here. So I got that going in the background. I think I turned it. Yeah, okay, good. All right, so we're going to continue working on this issue. I already have a suppressor in Rocks. And what a suppressor is it will suppress analyzers if you so choose. It can't suppress compiler errors, but it can suppress other analyzers. So I already have one in Rocks. I'm wanting to add two more. And the one I want to add in this stream, at least in this stream, is to get this one done, which is if we're passing in a iDisposable instance to an so there's this one, and that's within the scope of a callback. I'm assuming the same thing will happen within the scope of a return value call. So either one of those. But actually, oh, never mind. We discovered that wouldn't show up anyway. Okay, so last stream I got hung up on cleaning things up, getting more tests in place, but it was the right thing to do. So now in this one, what I want to do is actually get to working on, let's see, where sorry for, where did I put that? Oh, is that up here? Yeah, okay. That's a integration test. Okay. Hey, Electron, how'd your physics test go? All right, so value type and return value. I think that's, we want to say value task and return, yeah. That should be type, that should be task. Why can't you rename that? Just rename it. Less good than expected. Well, that sucks. So now in this one, we want to say we want to have, what do we want to call this? Now tomorrow is my chemistry exam. Oh, chemistry. iDisposable instances. Into tasks. Suppressor. Tests. That's as good as name as any. And this one is CA2025. What are you complaining about? Any unused field. Suppress when is used async. Okay. Really not made for chemistry. I say that because like in high school, I really enjoyed, and I wanted to take all like the advanced science and math courses. Like I took physics, I took all the math courses, and then I also took all the chemistry. Well, there's two chemistries, and senior year you could take advanced chemistry, which I did, and I'm glad that I did because my chemistry teacher, he was a really good guy. So was my math teacher. My physics teacher was kind of a dork, but I feel bad saying that, but it's kind of true. So, what was I going to say? But yeah, I personally enjoyed them, and then I took 2 semesters of chemistry when I was in college. I also had to take 2 semesters of physics, and that sucked because the physics department at the college I went to was just not good. So anyway, that's a long story. So suppress when return values used. So what do we want to do here? We want to have actually just realized something. The callback scenario here will only occur on a dormants type that has 4 type arguments. Because if it had 3, that means there's no return value, so it means you can't return anything from it. So we wouldn't be able to return a task from it. So anyway, that was just a small detail. So we want to have something that returns a value task as something that's disposable. And God, I don't want to go through the whole rigmarole of doing the dispose pattern correctly, but we might have to do that. So if I just say public sealed class disposable, that's not a type. Well, that's because it's my type. There. There's our disposable object. Or type, I should say. So we want to have something that can return, and we'll just say a task, because in this case it doesn't matter. Hold on a second, I'll answer that question real quick. Task, disposable, task, disposable. Now we can say task from result. Var disposable equals new. And that's what we're trying to suppress. No, we don't have any of these other tests. Don't make sense, so we'll do that. Do I do karate? Yes, I do. I've been doing it since summer 2020. Started when COVID was kicking in, which is a great time to start to learn karate. And had to do a lot of lessons actually from home, online, which that was not easy to do, but my instructor, my sensei, is really good. He's been doing it. He talk about somebody who's obsessed with something, or is just obsessed and or dedicated. He said when he's my age, and when he was younger, he saw Star Wars and he saw Jedis and he went, I want to do that. And of course, what's the closest thing you can do, or close to it, is karate. So he has studied it literally his entire life. And he's a really good teacher because he can actually teach kids. I would have no patience with that at all. And he does a good job teaching kids. So yeah, I've been doing it now for almost 6 years. I'm a 3rd degree brown belt at this point. That's impressive. Yeah. I think you're referring to him. So it does not, it does not mean I look like Bruce Lee when I'm doing all my stuff, because I don't. I know I don't. But it's a dedication to learning all the forms and sticking with it. It's hard. I mean, I'm at the age I'm at, doing these types of things. It doesn't get easier. So, but my goal is to get black belt. So I'm 3 tests away. I got to get 2nd degree brown belt, 1st degree brown belt, and then black belt. So I'm hoping to do that before I turn 60. So, but yeah, that guy he does have a couple of stories. One is, if you've ever seen the movie Kill Bill, there's a guy in there. He plays Pai Mei, I think is the name. He's the really old guy who's got the really long beard. He keeps doing this and flicking it back, but he's like super expert in what he does, and he jumps up and he stands on Uma Thurman's sword and just berates anybody that he teaches. He's also the leader of the Crazy Eights in the movie. So he has 2 roles in the movie. He actually broke my sensei's finger. It was not intentional, and it wasn't in the movie. My sensei, he was doing a class. This is years ago, and I think he had already injured it a little bit, and they were doing something, and it was a special class where this guy from the movie was in it, leading it, because he's also done karate for God knows how long. And his English wasn't the greatest. It was decent, but there was a little bit of a gap. And there was something that he did with my sensei where he like grabbed his hand, and Ben was trying to tell him, no. And I guess he kind of like broke it a little, or hurt it even more. And the guy was like, oh, sorry. And yeah, so he actually broke his finger. So now Ben has a good story. So can I break a brick? No, I can't. I've broken a board, but that's not, hey, it's cool that you can break a board, but it's, no, and it's not the intention of I want to be able to break a brick or a series of bricks or anything like that. I mean, the interesting thing about even spending all this money on it, and it's something that my older kid did since 2013 and then just stopped. You get to become an adult, and then you can start making your own choices, and things change in terms of your interests, and wasn't interested in it anymore. I decided to stick with it. But it's one of those things you spend all this money on that you hope you never use in real life. Like I asked my sensei, have you ever had to actually use this? And he said, no. He goes, in all my life, I've never got into a fight where I've had to use any of this stuff. And, he said it's gotten a little close. He's sometimes been asked to be like, not a bouncer, but kind of like a security detail for events, because he knows people, and they'll ask him to, like, hey, if you got time, do you want to do this? And he'll be like, sure, because then he gets extra pay. But even then, he says it's never come to play. And the interesting thing, and this is something I really stress with people, is don't ever get in a fight with people unless you absolutely have no choice. Don't start them, don't pick them, and don't, he said the best thing to do is de-escalate. If you're in a bar and somebody starts jawing and somebody's like giving you crap, just be like, hey, you're right. Just be like, hey, it's okay. Let me buy you a drink. He said, buying somebody a drink for $5 is better than getting into a fight, possibly going into jail and all the, because he said, at the end of the day, who cares? So you didn't win. Nobody cares. He goes, that's, you're taking the high road when you do that. and which is very, very true. And the thing too with him, he's actually smaller than me. Like he's about, I'm only almost 6 feet tall, so I'm not like a tall guy. He's probably about 3 to 4 inches shorter than me, something like that, I would say. And I would never want to pick a fight with him. You would be, I mean, you can tell he knows how to move. He knows how to use his core strength. He knows how to make you hurt if he really wants to. And yeah, so be advised, don't just, if you see somebody who's smaller or something like that, you never know what they actually know. So don't do that. Have you ever been in a fight? I did once when I was in middle school, and I regret it. I was bullied when I was younger by this one kid that he was in my class. And then after this, I really got to get back to this. And he, he bullied a lot of kids. He also bullied me. And it was not funny, but interesting when I found out later, like for our 10-year high school reunion or whatever, that he had been killed in a car crash. And I was like, oh, well, I felt no sadness or remorse for the guy because he was just an ass. And, I think I was getting tired of it, so I tried to pick on somebody else, and I picked a fight with somebody, and I regret it because his brother ended up not fighting me, but intimidating me and be like, you ever do that to my brother again, And I was, at the time, much smaller than that guy, and I, of course, cowered, later on. I was like, I'm sorry, but I regretted it. It was not, there's just no reason to do something like that. That was just so stupid in retrospect. So, fighting is not worth it. And if I would never get into a fight now unless I absolutely had no choice. Like they said, if all you can do is if you're able to kick somebody in the crotch, do it and then run away if you can. Just use the minimal amount of force you ever have to use, and do whatever you can to get out of that fight and run away. They said the way you win a fight is that you survive it. And the only way you get into a fight is because you're in a situation that you have no choice. So, yeah. Anyway, so this should fail because, well, this suppressor isn't even going to try to address this one. But hopefully we see that this is giving this error. So let's see what this test does. And I really feel like, all right, expected diagnostic on line 44 is actually line 30. Well, okay, fine. Oh, really? The type test standard can I use the type of test parameter? Oh, I forgot to try change that too, right? Yes. Disposable. Now let's try it. No diagnostics. Well, that's great. That's actually the scenario that we have here, right? Return task from result and the response, where the response is disposable. Maybe if it's because I put a using here? What does this do? Great. Well, I can't get this to show up now. Let's play with this, because I need to have a case where this does actually rear its ugly head. Oh, yeah, we need to get rid of all that. Okay, so now we're getting it, right? Yeah, the 2025 is showing up. All right, have fun with the chemistry exam. Remember, don't drink dihydrogen monoxide. It'll kill you. So anyway, so we are getting it to show up. So it's interesting because if I put a using, take that off. Well, now we're going to get it to complain and say that, yeah, we should be put a using around it. So that's... I'm not tricking my life. Hey, at least you caught the joke. Well, all this is good. This is coming up here. Maybe it's because we don't have it in the right spot. We got to put it around here, not around all this stuff. So let's just take all this. And put it in here. Excuse me. And let's grab this weird, odd syntax. And let's actually put it here. And put that there. Oh, and yeah, we've got to find... Ugh. Where does that actually exist? I should put this in... in the code where I found this, so I can't find it again. Where would it be? Is it here? Sorry for the blinding light. Okay, so it's got to be in one of these two. Okay, so... so maybe we're going to get lucky and see CA 2025. Yeah, I think it's this one. Okay. So let's come back. Actually, let's do this. And then put that here, and then take that, and then... No, this. Okay, and then it is called that. Okay. And then let's delete this. Now what happens when we run this? The markup location was not found in the input. Do you have to put curly braces around it as well? Okay, maybe you do. Maybe that's part of this weird syntax it puts in for this. Man, this is fun to set up. Type name. Okay, great, because I deleted all that. That's wonderful. Expected diagnostic severity to be info as warning. Really? Well, it seems to... Really? So this one is an info. Interesting. Okay. This one's a little harsher. Expected diagnostics. So he expected it to be suppressed, and it wasn't. Okay, that's fine. I think, and it makes sense because we're just using this suppressor. We're not using the one we really want to make. So, let's make it, which is the whole point of what I'm trying to do here. So excuse me while I copy pasta. So let's bring up this one. We'll just say it's public. They'll suppress CO 2025 when a because it's tasks. It could be anything. We'll say a task like type is passed to adornments. Callback. Or good enough. So we're going to need a descriptor. We don't have that yet. going to need all this. Oh, and we don't derive from the right type here. Okay, so now we could go back to our test here and pass that in here. Except we don't have descriptor. And we want to name it that. Suppressed ID is 2025. And callback invocations when we'll just say that. Great. What are my IDs? Well, I don't have. Oh, that's okay. What do you mean? We'll make it 16, I guess, because I don't know why. That is a little annoying because I should have an easier way to know what that number should be. Okay, so that's the ID, that's the suppressed ID, and that's the description. Fine. Wonderful. Okay, so now I got to do what I really want to do. 2025. So we find it in source, we get the root. Now what we want to do is say, we want to do what I did yesterday, which is to find the method where it's either the calls within would we get the same thing to happen if we did it within, yeah, I know it's all this crazy syntax now again. Okay, what happens if we say adornments dot return value, and we also say here task from result? Will we get the same thing? We would. Okay, good. So we do need to include it for the callback case, and the callback case can have 3 or 4. Okay. Perfect. So the return value will be with 4. So we want to say it's either not null and the name is return value, or the invocation name is callback, and now we got to do the symbol quality comparer for this is 4 or it's 3. So in other words, it's either one of my dormants that has 3 generics or 4 generics. So it either is within a return value that comes from the type that is it equals this type, or it's constructed from one that's 3 or 4. Right. And because they derive from it, they're equal to that type. Okay, so if it equals that, then we get the invocation. Let's think about this for a little bit. We are getting an argument. And the argument is actually to a task from result or value task from result. But the parent that we're looking for is to say, are you in the context of being in the context of being in an adornment's return value or callback call. Okay, so if that's the case, then what we want to say is wait, what am I doing? Oh, I'm getting the wait, what am I doing? If invocation expression known is not null, invocation method is, that's the invocation of the actual dormant's call. But the parameter type is what we're finding is what's constructed from. And so what we want to make sure is that it's one of these. I think that's what I'm doing. Because we're passing a return value here. If it's a callback, though, that's not true. But in this case, we don't care about that because all we're doing is looking at return value. So this gets trickier if it's... we don't really care about the... We don't, yeah, we don't care about the, this is an argument to an invocation. So what we could do is say, now I want to find the parent, the immediate parent of an invocation expression. So we could just return true with the filter, basically. So now we need to actually find var task invocation node is equal to node find parent of an invocation expression, where what we do here is we just say true, which is, in other words, we're saying the first parent that you find that's the one that we probably want. In all likelihood. There's probably lots of edge cases here that we have to look at. But we know that this argument is within a return value or callback call from an adornment. So now we just need to say, okay, fine. Now we need to have task invocation here, where we're doing that. Come on. Method, fine, we'll just call it that. And we'll assume that, I mean, we got to find something, right? And then we look at its parameters. The argument is the disposable. So we're trying to find out what invocation it's part of. And so we get the invocation. We really want to know, in this case, I believe, declared containing type. That's what we want. So if the task invitation type Sorry. I heard noise. I was like, what is that? I do have to quit pretty soon. So we're trying to find the containing type. Or it's this. So we want to say, is it one of these? Or the heck? Sorry. I keep hearing a noise. I don't know if it's from one of my kids above me or... So weird. Anyway, okay. I think this is correct. Let's see. So if this test... And this is actually doing it when callback. Huh, and that passed. Okay, so that's good. Abdullah, hello. Let's now do it within a... Actually, no, it would only show up if we're trying to return something. What? I'm doing fine, other than I'm hearing noises above me, and I don't know what it is. Okay, we do have success here. So 396 initial success suppressing. I'm gonna ask you one question. You gotta make it quick because I'm about to stop. So yeah, I have more cases to cover. Add more tests to cover more cases, and also cases where it shouldn't suppress. What should I do to quit bad habit? You're asking the wrong person. I'm not a behavior psychologist or counselor. So anyway, I do have to go though. And yeah, so and I gotta figure out what this noise is. Anyway, more progress made. I'll be doing this in the next time I do a code stream, which may be Thursday morning or Friday morning. I don't know. One of the two. I'll do one. Because I don't want to lose track of this in my head. But it seems like it's working the way I expect it to. So yeah, the next time I will do that. So I want to thank everybody who stopped by either now or in the future. Please subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And I will also be doing a Alien Rogue incursion stream tonight. And that'll start around 6:30 or 7 p.m. So that's it for now. Thank you all for watching. Take care, and I hope to see you in the future.